video is sponsored. By who? Well, I'm not really at liberty to say. Don't look at me! This video is sponsored by Pot Noodle to help celebrate the launch of their 2021 AR Careers Fair, and I'll be talking more about that in a while. I should probably put the fork down or I'm going to start talking with the fork. To be honest, I think it would benefit me if there was some sort of system where I could only talk if I'm holding the talking fork. So the whole reason that I'm actually making this video is because Pot Noodle have asked me to talk from my personal experience of working in an alternative industry. That alternative industry being music. I've been working in the music industry completely on my own terms for the best part of almost a decade now. I don't really know why my voice went up like that. Like, best part of a decade? I think it's actually been just over a decade. I started making music in my first ever local pop punk band when I was 18 years old, and I'm now 29, so I've been in the game a while. And you know, I think it would be pretty fair to say that my gateway into the industry has been anything but ordinary. I feel like I've told my story about how I became a solo musician so many times that I can't count them all anymore. But essentially, I never had any sort of formal training. I didn't come from a musical family at all. I shouldn't say at all, like sticking the knife into my parents. They were not musical. I basically just started uploading my music demos onto various websites like Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and eventually I created this YouTube channel, you know, to initially start sharing my music, and then I started putting more personality into the channel, and seeing this channel, my music grow side by side has been a complete honor. To be able to do that for the last nearly 10 years of my life, I wouldn't change a thing about it. Because as we all know, 2012 was just crying out for this channel to be created. What 2012 was missing was a hub for my shining personality. And so in today's video, I'm going to be answering some of your most frequently asked questions about how I got into the industry and my experiences with it. So if there are any of you guys looking to get into the alternative industry that is the music industry, but you're not really sure where to start, or if you want to get some advice, then hopefully this is the video for you. I'll season it with some little tidbits from my own experiences, so hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes that I have, because if I can teach someone something, then those mistakes won't be in vain, and I won't be left with haunting regrets for the rest of my life. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get on with the questions. What made you want to pursue music as a career? So growing up, I had a few ideas about what I wanted to do when I got older. I guess older being maybe 23. But you know, I went through a lot of career options as a kid, such as being a vet, being an astronaut, being an English teacher. At one point I wanted to be a paramedic. Needless to say, that didn't work out too well. It turns out I am extremely squeamish when I see other people's blood in real life. My own, not so much. Other people's blood, I can't handle it. So it's for the benefit of society that did not work out. I'm someone that changed their mind a lot. And I always have been, but one thing that has always stayed with me, one thing that I've always loved is music. That love has never gone away for me. Even when all these other career options disappeared and faded into obscurity for me. It's like, I think I wanted to be a vet for like maybe a week, which was like a lifetime when you're 4 years old. But I grew up in an environment where music just gave me pure happiness. My mum would listen to Sushi and the Banshees, garage music. Those two are very different. Mum. But my mum would also listen to things like Michael Jackson and Madonna, and that's where I got my love for pop music. My dad would listen to the Beach Boys, the Beatles, and Guns N' Roses. I was growing up in a time where the Spice Girls and S Club 7, all these like pop bands were absolutely huge. So I had a ton of musical influences, and I would always sort of pretend that I was in a girl band in my bedroom, singing into a microphone, all that cliche stuff. I love listening to music, and as I got older, I felt like if I could myself find a way to create music and give other people the same joy that I felt through listening to music, then it would be an honor and privilege to be able to do that. And I have been able to do that for the last 10 years of my life. And I can only hope that my music has brought people the same joy that I feel from listening to music as well. Did you have any work experience in the industry? No, none whatsoever. I didn't have any access to any sort of internships. I didn't know where to even turn for that sort of thing. I had the opportunity to study music production when I was in college, and I turned it down in favor of more, what's the word? Is it vocational? I turned it down for the opportunity to study things like politics and English language because I was convinced that there was no step up into the music industry based on where I came from. Not coming from a privileged background, not having access to really well-established theatre schools or music schools. If I had known that there was no one particular path into the music industry, then I would have studied it. And then perhaps I would have gone on to find a way to do an internship or apprenticeship, but I didn't take that path because I didn't know it existed and I didn't know it was available to me. It's a horrible feeling when you want to be able to do something. It's your entire life, it's your one passion, but you don't feel like you're ever going to be able to do it for a living, or if you feel like there's some sort of invisible ceiling above you. And so the way that I tried to get myself into the industry was teaching myself guitar, teaching myself how to write music, studying how other people wrote their songs and what made them special. And when I was 17 or 18, I started to look at online sort of auditions for being in pop punk bands, because pop punk was my favourite music, still is actually. So I'd find these forums that were like vocalist wanted, and I would reply to those. And as we know, that worked out great because I'm a real team player. So yeah, I basically ended up like teaching myself everything that I knew up until a certain point, and also just seeking things out on my own. Things could have been a lot easier if I knew that there were places I could turn to, if I knew that there was support out there. But alas, I went down the hardest path I could. What did you struggle with most when starting out? So as I just said, I didn't feel like I had any access to any sort of guidance or support. So I was kind of left to my own devices to figure things out. And that can be a real uphill struggle. You're very prone to making a lot of mistakes. And that can be a good thing. It can be educational. You know, you can find things out the hard way and have it work out fine, but you're always left feeling like you've wasted time and money where you could just be creating what you want. So a big part of my struggle when I was starting out was just doing things by trial and error. If I wanted to find out what sort of equipment I needed for something, it would be like a loose sort of Google search or answers on a forum, and a lot of the time I got incorrect advice. You know, like I'd end up buying totally wrong equipment for what I needed. And when you're met with these sort of setbacks, it can be so discouraging, and it makes you feel like, you know, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe I shouldn't pursue this anymore, it's obviously not for me. My advice to you in that case would be, I know it sounds really silly coming from my position, but like, don't give up. Even when the voices in your head are telling you like, oh, maybe this isn't for you. It is, you're awesome. Keep trying things out, get help from other people. There is a world of support out there. There's a world of people with the connections that you might need, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to take risks and be willing to take on advice from people who might have more experience than you. Were there any times you wanted to quit the industry? So that's where the title of this video comes in. I made a video touching upon some struggles that I've had in the music industry, namely being very trusting of people who I felt were more knowledgeable than myself in certain aspects of the music industry, and sort of just leaving a lot of my fate in other people's hands and relinquishing control, taking my foot off the pedal, because I don't know if it's just because I was very trusting in them, or whether it also reflected on me not having the self-confidence to believe that I knew what I was talking about. There would be times where I'd put my opinion across to these people and I would be told that, you know, in no uncertain terms, that I was wrong. And then I think slowly and surely, bit by bit, my confidence became sort of chipped away. And so I began leaving everything in other people's hands. All of this came to a head a couple of years ago, when all of my savings had been dried up, and it was becoming harder and harder to believe that the guidance I was being given was correct. And as soon as I began to start voicing my opinions again and, you know, raising the fact that I was aware of what was going on, I was left feeling very much discarded. I was told in pretty much no uncertain terms that my career was all dried up, it was finished, and I was left in a very, very weird and difficult state to get over, like financially, career-wise, and emotionally as well. And you know, it's taken, I was gonna say up until now, but you know, I'm still on the journey of recovering from that, you know, financially and emotionally. It's a real process and it's not linear, but there was a time where I wanted to just quit completely because I felt like I just wasn't cut out for it. How could all of this have happened to me? It must have been my fault. It's my name on everything. So, you know, I became hit with this wave of shame and guilt because suddenly I realized how much I had put in other people's hands. And I was responsible for that. I'm not responsible for their actions, but I am responsible for allowing those actions to happen to some degree. I actually made a video back in summer 2019, back when I still had my half red hair and half black hair, because apparently I use my hair as a timeline. I made a video announcing that I was quitting everything. I was quitting social media, I was quitting music, and I filmed it like 10 times. I cried in every single one, and I never uploaded it because when I finished it, I asked my partner to watch it with me to make sure I was saying everything right. And at the end of it, he said, okay, I've watched it, I get everything you're saying, I get why you're feeling that way, but don't post this video. Don't post it, you're gonna regret it, because you know you don't wanna quit. And deep down, he was right, even though in that immediate moment, like I just wanted to give everything up. He knew that that was not what I truly wanted. What I wanted was to fight back. And thanks to his support, I began to fight my way through how I was feeling. And I began to channel everything that I was feeling during that summer into new music, and the result of that was my EP called My Arms Are Open, which came out about a year ago today, actually. Not today, but it came out around a year ago this time. And there are also going to be some songs on my second album, which is coming out later this year, that also touch on how I was feeling back then, because what better way to channel everything that you're going through than to write music. That's how I've always felt. And now I have the most control over my career that I've ever had. I make all the decisions and I'm proud of that. I'm no longer lazy and just, you know, relinquishing all decisions to other people. And so I can speak from experience that if there are times where you feel so overwhelmed by everything, if you're feeling guilty, or if you feel like you're not good enough and you shouldn't be in the position you're in anymore, almost like you can't trust yourself to be in that position, remember that these feelings are temporary. You have to take a step back and work out what was your responsibility and what was the faults of other people. And you have to really ask yourself, do you really, really want to give up? Or is that also just the easy thing to do? And I'm willing to bet that you don't want to give up. You love what you do. You do anything to fight for what you do. And as I said before, you are awesome. Don't give up. If you needed a sign, I'm hoping I can be that sign. You can and you will overcome any feelings of doubt that you have. And remember that life is too short to not be doing what you love. So don't take that away from yourself. Okay. What do you enjoy most about this industry? That question is so easy for me to answer. What do I enjoy most? Playing live. 100,000,000%. Brings a smile to my face every time I think about it. I miss playing live. I can't wait to play live again. I cannot wait to start doing gigs with you guys again. Honestly, there is no better feeling for me in the entire world than being able to sing my songs and look out in the crowd and seeing all of you guys looking back at me and singing the lyrics that I wrote, probably in my bedroom or in this room with an acoustic guitar, and everyone just having the time of their lives. Like, they are the best nights of my life for me. I cannot wait to be back on tour again and meet you all again. And if I haven't met you before, maybe meet you for the first time. And finally, what advice would you give to someone looking to start out in the music industry? So I feel like I've kind of touched upon this already, but if there's one sort of misconception I feel like there is about the music industry, it's that the competitiveness is absolutely vile and brutal. In all of the time that I've been a solo musician, all I have found is that fellow people in the music industry just want to help each other out, because we have this one major thing in common, and that's that we love music and we love making music. It binds us together, and being in the music industry, I can honestly say that people just want to help you. All this time I spent when I was younger thinking that the gates were shut, you know, nobody was going to give me a step up. It's all about where you look and your perspective, because there is guidance out there, there is help out there, there are fellow musicians that you can collaborate with. Ask all the questions that you need to. If you like the sound that someone has, say like, oh, how did you make that sound? Or how did you get that tone? If you know someone who's playing a venue that you want to play, ask them how they got that gig. Just don't be afraid to ask questions. I spent a lot of my life being afraid to ask for help, and it served me no good whatsoever. If there are opportunities out there, I know they're scary, and I know how it feels to be too anxious or to not have the confidence to believe that you deserve them, but you do. So go out there, grab those opportunities, seize them with everything you have, because as I said before, life is too short to not be doing what you love. The wide spectrum of possibilities and opportunities that are out there are exactly why Pot Noodle have created their AR Careers Fair. That was such a good segue. I'm gonna treat myself to some more pot noodle, as they say in Wayne's World. Contract or no, I would not bow down to any sponsor. So one of the core beliefs at Pot Noodle HQ is that life should be spent doing what you love more of the time. In fact, when I was making my pot noodle, I lifted up the foil lid and there was this message, which was nice. I was like, aw. Also, I'm hungry, but aw. Whatever it is that you love in life, that's what you should focus on doing the most. So Pot Noodle want to encourage you to grab life by the noodles and stir up your future. I love that. I love that pun. If you're looking to get into an alternative industry, whether it's music or film or gaming, then the Pot Noodle AR Careers Fair is perfect for you. Maybe you just need that extra step up into the career that you want. Maybe you just need more guidance and to find new contacts in that industry. The Pot Noodle AR Careers Fair can help you find internships and career opportunities that you may not have even known existed. I know for a fact that when I was growing up, I had no idea that these opportunities existed. Perhaps they didn't exist, but they do now, at least. And these opportunities might be that step up that you need to get into the industry that you love. So I encourage you to take a look at what I'm about to show you. And all you have to do is click on the link down below in the description and this happens. So as you can see, it creates a virtual alternative careers fair wherever you are. So I'm just going to click tap to get started and I'm just going to put it on my floor. Now obviously you can probably place it a lot better than I can. Now you can have a careers fair wherever you are, whether you're in your bedroom or in your living room. And I just want to say, if you don't have AR on your phone, you can also access this on the desktop version, which I've also tried and really enjoyed. So if I wanted to look at opportunities in the music industry, then I would look for these yellow stalls here and I would click on these little applications down here. And from here you can see production and audio design intern. And from here you can read about the internship and see if it's for you. If not, you can go back or you can scroll back up to the top and where it says search internships, then you could type in music like I'm doing right now. And then you can get music video promoter or social media music guru, musical operations assistant. There are so many cool opportunities from this website. If I had access to these when I was first trying to get into the industry, I would definitely be making the most of this. So if you want to access the Alternative Careers Fair by Pot Noodle, then you can click on the link down below in the description. And I hope that this video has been helpful to you. Thank you so much to Pot Noodle for sponsoring this video. I hope that me telling some of these stories has been helpful. And I hope that they save just a little bit of aggro for somebody looking to get into this industry. It's so wonderful and it's so worth it. Sometimes we just need the right push in the right direction. And I firmly believe that that's what Pot Noodle were doing. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, I shall catch you later.